Hi, everyone. This is Jody Watkins, To Be Epic Fitness and Nutrition LLC. Welcome back. I told you guys I was going to ramp up the YouTube channel, right? So here we go. So here's another one. I'm super, super grateful for a really good friend of mine. Her name is Brandy. She is a U.S. Air Force major. Actually, I think she just made Lieutenant Colonel. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put that down, but yeah, she's out there and she's doing amazing things. But anyway, she reached out to me and she said, I just wish somebody would break it down for me. So guess what? I actually have this already in a presentation, especially I had just done a workshop about this. Actually, back before COVID kind of got really big. I think the workshop was back in February. So I already had the slideshow put together. Actually, I'd done another one last year. So I already had that put together, but I needed to put it in a video. I'd never done that. So I really, really appreciate her for reaching out and requesting that. You guys, if you have anything out there that you're curious about that you might think that I already kind of have some information on, or maybe I don't, who knows? I research all the time. So I am all in for getting more information. Okay. If you have anything that you have any questions about, please reach out, email me. You're going to have my email right here on the end of this presentation and our website. Go to our website, reach out to us, come to our free wellness community, go take the Reclaim Your Life course. I am so grateful that I have that course out now. Go take that. Let me know how you feel. It's an interactive course and we get to communicate one-on-one. So I'm really excited about just all the possibilities that are happening. But before we keep talking about all these other things, let's just get into nutrition. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Everybody ready? Calculating macronutrients. Yes, when I first started my journey, I had no idea what the heck I was doing either. So I totally get it when people reach out to me and they're like, I just don't understand what I'm supposed to do. And I say, it's okay. I didn't either when I first started. All right. So we're going to say, so here we are calculating macros and I take this from the military, but I had to change the word. So keep it simple and steady. Steady is consistency. Steady is progress. Steady means just keep going because at the end of the day, if you keep going, chances are you're going to get the results that you desire. It's when you quit that you're not able to get those results or you end up backtracking. Okay. Here's what I would tell you. Flexible eating should never, never, ever, ever, ever be seen as a diet. It should not be seen as something that is stressful in your life. It is simply teaching you how to fuel your body and fuel it properly. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and say is about this presentation is this is not customized, okay? If you want customization, reach out because we have a few people here on the team who are able to work with you one-on-one and can actually create that customization for you. Remember that macronutrients, your calories, your fuel intake has to change as your goals and your body changes, okay? So keep that in mind as we go through this. So this presentation is actually just a baseline, okay? It's just kind of helpful to get you started, all right? So that's what we're gonna go through today. Now, my name again is Jody Watkins. I am a certified personal trainer, certified nutrition coach, and certified fitness nutrition specialist. I also am certified as a performance nutritionist. Nutrition, as you can tell, is my passion. Why? Because it helps us, it keeps us from getting as sick all the time. It also keeps us being able to continue throughout the day without super, super fatigue. And it also allows us to fill our bodies with the nutrients that we need. While this presentation specifically goes over how to break up our fuel intake and our macronutrients, just remember that micronutrients are super, super key as well. Our micronutrients are our vitamins and minerals, and our bodies need certain amounts of those to continue for different cellular production, and to keep us healthy and keep our immune systems up to par, which is super, super important, especially right now with the times that we're in. Okay. So I just want to throw all that out there before we get started, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. All right. Macronutrients and calculating your intake. So like I said, this presentation is going to go over the macronutrients, what they are, and how to calculate them based on your body's fuel requirements. Okay, I am going to put a website on here. It's actually in chapter 4 of my book, Reclaim Your Life as well, and it's in the course. So if you want further information on any of that, just make sure you reach out, okay? So what is a macronutrient? Here you go. Keep it simple, right? Protein, carbohydrates, and fats. All right, you need them all. Protein, I always tell people, if you focus on anything, make sure it's your protein. That way your body is getting the protein that it needs. Protein is super important for brain function, not just muscular development and recovery, but hormonal development and brain function. So those are two things that people don't realize. I actually learned this while I was taking care of my mom way back in, I think, 2007-ish, 2008, before she passed away. I was taking care of her and she had multiple sclerosis. I had also done studies on how nutrition linked with, or how lack of protein linked with dementia. So that's why I'm really, really big on protein, you guys. It's not because I've made this up and I just think protein is good. It's because I've done all the research in the past and I've got all that education to where I was able to learn how protein actually allows our brains to function on a better level. I also did some research that I'll talk about later on, where protein helps with things like ADHD and autism. That was some research that I found a long time ago too. So I'll be putting all that stuff out there as the time goes, but for right now, we're just going to focus on this, okay? Macronutrient is a food that is required in large amounts of the body. So macro, right? Like a macro community, or anything else that's macro. That's a big thing, right? All right, so the three macronutrients, like I said, are protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So we've all heard of that. But maybe you haven't heard of this one, okay? And this is actually where I always get people. The basal metabolic rate. You guys, the basal metabolic rate, also known as your BMR, is the minimum amount of fuel, aka calories, whatever you want to call it. I call it fuel because I don't like people to say, oh, I have to calorie count. No, you don't have to calorie count. I want you to learn how to fuel your body for life, right? Because now you can teach other people. So anyway, let's go back to BMR. So BMR is the minimum amount of fuel intake you should have on a daily basis if you are sitting on the couch, not doing anything. That means you don't work. That means you don't do anything. You're just sitting on the couch. That's the minimum amount of fuel that you should be taking in on a daily basis to allow your body to function and perform as it is supposed to. Okay, this is huge, you guys. All right, so if you go over here, I actually have at the bottom of this presentation, there is a website. Make sure you pause this video right now so you can write down that website, or at least just go ahead and go into it. But don't do anything yet because you haven't learned what to do, right? But I just want to make sure that you understand what your BMR is. I also want you to understand that when you go in there, you are calculating just it is a basic calculator, okay? So I don't use that. I actually use a different formula, an actual formula that I used in my certifications to calculate for an individual. It's a little more time consuming. But this was the website that I found that was best for someone who is starting out, to where you could just go on there and get your numbers, okay? The great thing about this website also is it has what's called an activity identifier, okay? So once you get your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, you can actually put in how active you are, right? It'll be, I think it's 1 through 5 are your activity identifiers on there, okay? And you can actually put in how active you are. Then what I do is I go in and take a couple extra steps. And I say, okay, well, what are your goals? All right. So if your goal is to maintain weight, cool. We're going to keep you at that number that it gave you. If it is to lose weight, then we're going to take a certain percentage based on your needs, your body. Hopefully you've gotten your labs done and I can read those. Based on those types of things, that's how I'm going to get the actual number for your fuel requirement. Okay. So like I said, this is just basic. This is very, very basic. And this is for someone who just wants maintenance, okay? I'm not gonna go too far in depth for anything else. This is just maintenance, all right? So you've got your basal metabolic rate, hopefully by this point. Now let's break it up for your macronutrients. So how do we do that? Well, here is a guideline that I use with everyone when I'm explaining this. Like I said, I put this in the book as well. It's chapter 4, Reclaim Your Life. Go ahead and Google it. Jody Watkins, Reclaim Your Life. You can get it on any platform. You can also go to our website and get it as well. You can get a signed copy if you do that. But this is how you break it up, okay? 30, 30, 40. This is just, like I said, this is not individualized. Men and women are different. Men can go a little bit lower in fats and a little bit higher in carbs. This is mainly for someone who, like I said, is just trying to maintain. And it also, I wanted to put the 30% for fats because a lot of women need those extra fats for hormone production and things like that. Now, I also want to put this disclaimer out there. This is not for someone who is pregnant or breastfeeding, okay? That is when you need to reach out to me because I do specialize in that as well, okay? And I can help you meet your needs and your baby's needs at the same time, okay? So that's something totally different. This is just standard, all right? 30, 30, 40. So this is how you break up your fuel. So you get your fuel requirement, say it's 1,700 calories, and then you could break it up. I did put on here that these, just remember these numbers. Protein intake should be about 30% of your calories. That's the kind of the baseline for protein. Fat intake should be about 25 or 30% of your calories, and then carbs is the rest. Okay, so it just depends on where you're going to put your fats, where your carbs will be. All right, macronutrients. So here's a little bit of the science. I did learn this stuff back in 2003 when I took my first nutrition course. Okay, so I don't make anything up. This actually comes from the education that I've received in the past. Okay, you can actually find this pretty much anywhere if you Google it. Okay, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories, and 1 gram of carbs equals 4 calories. So what the heck does that mean, right? Well, this is how we get your caloric intake, okay? As nutrition specialists and nutrition coaches, this is one of the calculations that we did. So for any of the nutrition coaches and specialists out there, for those of us who thought we weren't gonna have to use math again, guess what? We're using it all the time, but that's okay. And for any of you who have kids, just make sure you're telling your kids, hey, you're still going to have to use math when you get older, probably. Because that's one thing that I do share with our daughter is, hey, you're still going to have to use math if you want to be able to help people in a certain area. And that goes with a whole lot of things, financial wellness, all that too. All right. But yeah, we still have the math. It's still there. All right. So what does all this mean right here? All right. This is where I normally lose people. So it's okay. You can always go back. You can rewind, whatever you need to do. You can watch this over and over and over if you need to. But make sure you read this, okay? So you have your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. You have your activity level. All right. Like I said, if you go to that website, it has it listed out for you. So that's a little bit of less math that you have to do. All right. And then you have your goal. So what is your goal? All right. So our goal is we want 30% of our calories to be protein, right? So how do we get that number? Well, if you look down here, say my calorie intake, my fuel intake should be 1,600 calories, all right? So 30% of that, so that's 0.3 times 1,600, that gives me the amount of 480, all right? So how many grams of protein is that? Well, if you look over on the other side here, you divide 4, because you got 4 grams, right? If you go back to the last slide, then it says 4 calories per gram, right? So you divide 4 into 480 and you get 120. So now you have 120 grams of protein is your goal, all right? Carbs are done the same as protein. All you have to do is just change the percentage as needed to get the initial amount of calories. But what about fats? That's a little bit different. If you notice on the slide, it's actually 1 gram per 9 calories, okay? So this is what gets people too when they're trying to eat a certain amount of calories. If they go too high in their fat intake, especially if it's, the different types of fats that we have, trans fats, saturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats, things like that. Okay, so I don't want to throw anybody off, but just be aware of the types of fats too, okay? Because the more saturated they are, the harder it is for your body to break it up. All right, but fats can easily hike up your calorie intake if you're not paying attention. So this is why I always like people to track their foods for a few days, because then you kind of see where you're at, where your downfalls might be, and how we can actually go about locking arms and helping you through in that journey, okay? So if we're saying fats right here, like I said, there's 9 grams of fats per calorie. This is calculated differently. So we use the example of 1,600 calories. So if your fat intake is 30% of your calories. You're going to calculate your fat calories as 0.3 of 1600. Well, guess what? It still gives you the same number as we got before with the protein, right? 480. But now, instead of dividing 480 by 4, we're going to divide 480 by 9, okay? So you divide that by 9, you get 53.33333. It's not an even number, right? So you can just go ahead and estimate there. Usually what I'll do is, just if you go back to grade school and you remember how we estimate up or down, right? My daughter's doing that. I think she did that last year in school. So 53.3 can be rounded down to 53 grams, okay? There you go. So that's your fat intake. All right, so this is what I always tell people, because you guys, I'm not perfect either. Never, ever strive for perfection. At this point in your life, you should just be striving for consistency and progress. And how do you make progress? Practice. Practice makes progress. I stopped saying, remember that phrase back in the day where they would be like, practice makes perfect? No. Practice will not make you perfect, because then your standards are too high and you might not ever reach them. And then you're just going to be telling yourself, I suck because I can't ever reach the standard. Practice makes progress. Okay, let's just keep it at that. All right, calculating and tracking macronutrients should never be stressful. Okay, that's the biggest thing. Nothing you do in life that is meant to be done should be stressful. If you start feeling like smoke's coming out of your ears, which is how I feel sometimes as I'm running a business in certain areas, and then I have to reach out to other people who have expertise in those areas, right? I have to do the same thing. If you are struggling in this area, please reach out, okay? There's nothing wrong with hiring a coach to help you on your journey, all right? It's actually, I would enjoy that. That is something that I'm super passionate about. I love being able to teach people about this stuff and being able to utilize it for the rest of their lives. I've been working with people for over 8 years in this area because it was something that I lacked for most of my life. And now that I've been able to hone in on it and even learn even more, then now I'm able to help other people. And I have a few other coaches that I was able to bring on, and now I'm mentoring them and they're helping too. So you guys reach out, because that's why we got this information. It was to make things easier for you, okay? If you have any questions or concerns, just let us know. Sign up for nutrition coaching. We'll be more than happy to do these calculations for you. We have shopping lists. We help you find the quality supplementation you need, and we hold you accountable, okay? So just go to this website today and sign up for a program, and we'll be right there by your side. If you have any questions though, or if you want to schedule a consultation first, make sure you keep this information. Email me directly and I will definitely reach back out to you. You can go to our website, www.tobeepicfn.com, and you can call us directly at area code 904-513-8290. Again, my name is Jody Watkins. I am the founder of To Be Epic Fitness and Nutrition, LLC. This is part of what we do in our nutrition coaching. It's just a little piece of it. We actually join forces with you. We do strategy calls, and we make sure that you have everything you need to be successful. So if you would allow us to go on that journey with you, we would be happy to do that. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know if there's anything else that you have questions about, and that way we can get more information out to you. All right, have a great day. Bye.